हेलो दोस्तों, आप सभी का फिर से बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। तो दोस्तों, इस कहानी को, इस स्टोरी को हम पहले पार्ट में यहाँ तक पढ़ लिए थे। पहले पार्ट में हम यहाँ तक, आप देख सकते हैं, पहले पार्ट में हम यहाँ तक पढ़ लिए थे। दूसरे पार्ट में हम आगे की कहानी को यहाँ पढ़ेंगे। इस पार्ट में हम आगे की कहानी को यहाँ से पढ़ना स्टार्ट करेंगे। अगर अभी तक आपने पहले पार्ट्स को नहीं पढ़े हैं तो आप चैनल पे जाके पढ़ सकते हैं। यहाँ से हम पढ़ चुके थे। स्मॉल फ्रेटन वॉइस आंसर टुगेदर नो वी वुडन बट। अब हम सेकेंड पार्ट में, इस पार्ट में हम यहाँ से पढ़ना स्टार्ट करेंगे। स्टोरी को फिर स्टोरी को पढ़ेंगे। तो चलिए पढ़ना स्टार्ट करते हैं। No birds. No birds. Now listen, I have told the tortoise that they will have to move out of bamboo pati. When they go, we will have more of everything. More food, more water, more space. I want them out by tomorrow. But because they are such slow coaches, I have given them 1 week. By next Tuesday, we won't have a single tortoise left in this jungle. And by the following Tuesday, they were all gone. At first, the animals were sad, but then they realized that what Makara had said was true. There was more food, more water, and more space for them. But soon a strange smell began to fill the forest. It was the smell of rotting fruit on the ground, rotting animals in the river. This was what the tortoise used to eat, and even Makara had to go about holding his nose with his big claws. A month passed by. And then the same thing happened all over again. But this time it was the snakes. Makara wrote. इस रोट पढ़ते हैं, ये जो राइट का सेकेंड फॉर्म है, रोट पढ़ते हैं इसको। W जो है इसमें साइलेंट होता है। One of his letters, they were to leave the forest, and since they could move fast, they had to go in a day. Naga, the head of the snakes, pleaded for more time, but Makara would not give in. At the meeting, he silenced the others, the lizards and crocodile, with even louder shouts and threats. Snakes are slimy, he said, and they make funny noises. Who wants such weird creatures around? Again, no dare to disagree with Makara, and so the snake left. For a while, the animals of the forest were happy because they had been a little afraid of the snakes. Little afraid of the snakes. You never knew when one of them might lose his temper and spit some venom at you. And it took only a little poison to kill you after all. How can we trust someone who is green one minute, red the next? Let's get rid of them. By By now, the crocodile were really scared of Makara, so they clapped and cheered. Makara was pleased. The lizards left the forest, some with their babies on their backs. But now they but now when life would have been wonderful for the crocodile of Pambupati, all kinds of awful things began to happen. To begin with, the rats grew bolder by the day. They became so fearless that they jumped and turned some salts on the crocodile's back, and there were too many frogs. They seemed to be growing larger, and there was no one to eat no one to eat them but the crocodile. These huge frogs began to eat the baby crocodile, and and the insects. Now that the lizards were gone, there were millions of them growing bigger and nastier, nastier by the day. It was a terrible time for the crocodile. They couldn't understand what had happened to their happy forest home. Then one day a, squeeze, a squeezy little voice peeped off at one of their meeting. We know why the forest has gone crazy, don't we? Suddenly everyone was silent. They looked at Makara fearfully, but to their surprises, he looked nervous. He shook a rat off his tail and asked the small crocodile, "Why, little fellow?" It all began with the thought, "Okay, okay," said Makara. "There's no need to talk so much." Makara didn't want to admit he was wrong, but it didn't matter. All the crocodile knew now that he was not all that along that is strong or powerful are always right. They sent urgent message all over the place for the tortoise, snakes and lizards to come back to Pambupati, and what a great day it was. Then these creatures came back, family after family, with their little ones on their backs are straggling child shouting at their parent to wait for them. In 2 months, the forest was back to normal. The rats disappeared, and the insect, the and the smell, and the world finally went back to its familiar old self. "Well, Prem," said the old man, "have you fallen asleep? Did my story send you off to dreamland?" I shook my head. No, grandfather. I was just thinking maybe it's time I went back to my own village because I have a story to tell them. But what if they don't listen to me? We can only keep it, my son. Tell this story again and again to more and more people. Some of them may laugh at you or say your story are not true, but they may remember, but they remember them one day and understand that each of us has a place in this strange, funny world of ours. तो मिलते हैं नेक्स्ट स्टोरी में। धन्यवाद।